number 5 on this list is Georgie Jones from General Hospital. And in case anyone doesn't know what General Hospital is, it is a daytime drama, also known as a soap opera. But Georgie's death was so uncalled for and is so not necessary. The way they killed her character, I could go on for a while about it because it was just the stupidest death ever. She was killed by someone that she reached out to and tried to help. And it's just never made sense to me why they would do that. I mean, she was the only one that was nice to him, the only one that cared about him, and yet he goes around and kills her, and I never understood that, and I will never understand that. And I'm still so pissed that this happened. And it's like, her character did not need to die. Yes, I understand the actress was leaving the show. Actually, no, I don't remember if it was her choice or not, but I still choose to believe that the character is alive and well somewhere, even if the actress is no longer really acting as much, but I still choose to believe it. And we still do get to see the character every once in a while as like kind of a spirit or a ghost, but I'm still not okay with the fact that they killed this character off, especially the way they killed her. Ugh. And I think that's why it's number 5 on my list, is because it's just so frustrating, and this character was so good and so pure and didn't deserve to die the way she died. Number 4 on this list is Alan Francis Doyle, otherwise just known as Doyle. And he is from Angel. He is the half demon, half human that was in like the first part of season 1 of Angel. And he ends up dying while sacrificing himself to save a whole bunch of other half demon, half human. And words cannot express how upsetting it is to watch it. I can watch the episode, that much I can, but you still sit there and you watch him realize he needs to do this. He needs to sacrifice himself to save these people, and he punches out Angel because he won't give Angel, the chance to do it. And then he goes over and he kisses Cordelia, and then he just jumps, and you just cry. You cry so much just watching that scene, because he was just so selfless, and he knew the risk, and he did it anyways. And there's a quote from a later season that finally kind of made sense to me. Is this quote that finally made sense to me after all these years, because it mentioned it was also something that Cordelia had to do as well. So it kind of came full circle in a way. And while not on the list, I'm still not okay with the fact that they killed off Cordelia of Angel. She should have been on this list, yes. I'll tie her in with Doyle, because those two should not have been killed off. I understand why they kind of killed off Doyle. And not long after, the actor who played Doyle ends up dying in real life, so at some point they might have had to have killed him off, but it's still upsetting because he was such a good character. Let's see. So this was the quote that was used. It was Cordelia talking to Angel as they're watching the video that Doyle made the day he died that was to promote Angel investigations was Cordelia says, Doyle pissed me off so righteously going out like that, but he knew. He knew what he had to do, didn't compromise, used his last breath to make sure you kept fighting. I get that now. And I get that now too, because that was something that Cordelia ends up doing too, is that she used her last breath to make sure that Angel kept fighting. So, Doyle and Cordelia are definitely number 4 on this list, and I'm still not okay with Cordelia dying. Her and Angel were finally could have been happy. They could have been so happy, and they had to go and kill her. Why did you have to go and kill her? And number 3 on this list is Quentin Fields from One Tree Hill. And this one is on the list because this episode does make me cry. And it's more the episode where they're kind of honoring him. There's also this really great quote at the beginning and the ending of the episode that describes who Quentin is, and that's what really makes it so emotional. That plus you have Nathan and Haley telling their young son that this boy, or that this kid that their boy, looked up to and was friends with, just died, and they didn't know how to do it because they never really had to tell him something like that before. And I know later on you find out that Haley's father had passed away, but it might have been one of those things where they didn't have to tell, or they didn't tell Jamie because, he couldn't understand it, or it happened before he was really old enough to understand what happened. But now that he's old enough to understand life and death, you watch them try to explain this to their son, and their son doesn't really quite get it, even though Jamie really understands things that are going on. But it's more that he's between in denial and not really understanding it. And as the episode goes on, you get all these different moments where, like, the classroom that Quentin was in, they used his desk and they started writing quotes about him and quotes that related to him. And then the funeral, you have all the basketball players from his basketball team show up in uniform, and they greet his mother, and then they stand there, and then you see Quentin's brother, Andre, get up, put on Quentin's jersey, and walk over and stand with the players, and, like, that moment alone, I'm sorry, that moment alone is enough to make you cry. And just thinking about it now is, like, making me tear up, and it is a fantastically done episode, and his death, it still hurts. Every single time I watch it, it's like really crying, and one of those things, it's like when I need a good cry, I'll turn on that episode, because 1, I love the episode as it is, and 2, like I said, I cry every single time I watch it. Number 2 on this list is Barry Frost from Rizzoli Isles. And I think the reason why this one is on the list is because that it is more of a tribute episode to the actor Lee Thompson Young than it is to the character that he played, because the season before that, Lee took his own life at the very end of the season. So the next season, they ended up addressing it. And while I was really hoping that they would kind of like have his character move with his girlfriend and be somewhere where he's kind of like off screen, but you still kind of hear him every once in a while, they decided to kill off the character and do this amazing tribute to him. And I watched the episode 2 times. Once when it's aired, and then another time, and I have not watched it since. And it is just, it's hard to watch it. Like I said, I think it's because it's such an amazing tribute to the actor that you can't help but cry throughout the whole thing. And then at the very end, when you watch Rizzoli just break down and cry after reading this postcard that Barry sent her while he was on vacation, and I lost it. I absolutely lost it the first time I watched that. So, and then the funeral. So, I was saying the episode, and then the funeral. You have all these photos of Barry and his his co-workers from the show, but they're really just behind the scenes photos of Lee and his co-stars, and you just see how you know how much of a little close-knit group they were, and it's definitely the fact that this is more of a tribute episode to the actor than to the character really is what sells it on why it is so emotional and so sad. And since I grew up watching Lee Thompson Young on Disney Channel, this episode really means so much to me, and I think that's another reason why it hurts to watch it and it makes me cry so much, is because I was a fan of his for so long, and now he's gone, you know? So that's why this is number 2, is because of how sad this episode and everything surrounding this episode is. Now for the number 1 saddest death in the TV shows that I watch is Leslie Shay from Chicago Fire. I cannot watch this episode without crying my eyes out. And I know I say that just about to all the episodes, but this one in particular, and it's because of Taylor Kinney. I watch him cry, I cry, doesn't matter, I'm bawling my eyes out. Plus, Leslie Shay is such an amazing character, and she was such an amazing character, and it was such a tragic loss when they killed her off, because they lost such an amazing character, and the relationship that Shay and Severide had was like friendship goals. They were always there for each other, no matter, even if they got into fights, they still managed to, find a way back. And this episode, you got flashbacks to when Shay first joined 51, when she became roommates with Severide, and this contract they put together, which basically said that they would be there for each other, always. And then in the present day, you had Severide not taking her death so well, which is understandable because they were best friends. And then you have Casey trying to show Severide that it's not about the deaths from that fire, it's about the people we saved. And you just sit there and you realize that even though they had one death, they still managed to save so many people, and that's what their job is to go in there and save people. And that's what Shay did. She went in and she saved lives. But it's just so sad that we end up losing this amazing character. And while I adore Lauren on Lucifer, and I wouldn't change her on Lucifer at all, I still miss Leslie Shay. And there are certain episodes and certain times through the series that I'm like, oh, Shay would have totally kicked your ass, or Shay, you so need Shay, Severide. But it was definitely that episode. Just, I think it's because I loved Shay's character so much, and to see her die in such a tragic way, it hurts my heart. And also, the first time I watched the episode, I like bawled my eyes out, and then the next day I'm completely puffy and I have such a stuffy nose that I ended up getting sick for a week afterwards. But I still kind of refuse to believe that Shay is dead, but I know she is. I just choose to pretend every once in a while that she's still around, kicking Severide in the ass when he needs it, being there, being the little angel on his shoulder to tell him that, everything's gonna be okay. He definitely could have used Shay this week and last week, definitely. But so those are my top 10 saddest deaths in the shows that I watch. So comment down below if you agree with any of them, or if you have any that you think were, sad or sadder than the ones that I gave you. Love to hear your lists. So, okay. I will see you next time.